kind of gear has trade value? How to increase your daily earnings? Today, let's explore the popular rare items and affix combinations in the new season of Path of Exile 2, and also some practical tips for increasing daily earnings. The new season of Path of Exile 2 has been live for over 10 days now. My daily mapping income is over 50 divine orbs. If rare uniques or top-tier gear drop, it can exceed 100 divine orbs. Among the earnings, 70% comes from gear. Many players have no idea about the value of gear. Today, let's discuss this issue in detail. Before understanding the gear, we need to know the currently popular types of classes. In the overall distribution of classes, the Amazon accounts for as much as 43%, while the Lich, Deadeyes, and Smith of Kitava rank 2 and 3/4, combining for a total of 35%. Therefore, our main goal when farming and identifying gear daily is these classes. Before diving into details, one important point to note is that among gold and rare gear, those with fewer or no wasted affixes tend to be more valuable. First of all, the Amazon part. 89% of players are using the Lighting Spear build, so a good weapon is essential. Apart from the popular unique spear, Tangleton Fork Spear, that we currently know, there are two options for the affix combinations of the Golden Spear. The first option is the high accuracy rating spear. The prefix needs to have an accuracy rating of over 500 plus. If there is also a high tier attribute that adds lightning damage to the gear, it will be even better. Of course, high tier physical, fire, and ice damage are equally effective. For the suffix, prioritize critical damage bonus first, or critical hit chance is also useful. Useful but not very impactful affixes include mana per enemy killed, level of all projectile skills, and attack speed. The best base material for this type of spear is the Sea Glass Spear, because it has a 10% base critical chance. The limitation of this spear is that it can only be used by Amazons, relying on ascendancy to convert accuracy rating into physical damage. The second type of spear is the Massive Physical Damage Spear. It requires a high percentage increase in physical damage. Additional physical damage on percentage increase in physical damage. The higher the tier of these two affixes, the greater the final product's value. The suffix still prioritizes critical damage, followed by critical hit chance. Both of these are very important. As for the choice of high-tier base materials, it is relatively broad. Any highest-tier base will do. Next, we have the mace weapons, which are less popular than the lighting spear. The two-hand mace also has two directional choices. The first option is a hammer with 7 melee skill levels. It is important to note that this type of gear requires an item level of 81 or above. And another key point is that we want the strength requirement of this hammer to be as low as possible. Therefore, the recommended suffixes for this type of hammer are 7 melee skill levels, attribute requirement decrease, and additional strength. The second type of gear is the physical damage hammer. Currently, in popular builds, in addition to physical damage, you can add 7 skill levels, attribute requirement decrease, and critical damage to strength. These two are the mainstream options, while other relatively popular physical damage bows can be crafted similarly to spellcaster weapons. Having talked about weapons, let's discuss gloves and rings. The reason for discussing these two together is that the current mainstream usage focuses on prefixes that pursue high additional attack damage, while the suffixes aim for elemental or chaos resistances. In addition to damage and resistances, useful modifiers for rings include rarity, maximum life, and kill mana recovery. For spellcasters, the prefixes and suffixes should consider maximum mana and mana regeneration. For gloves, suffixes can consider critical damage and rarity, which are both quite good. Regarding armor, there's a special point to mention. Smith of Kitava used soldier's armor or ornate plate with a white base material, filling it with quality and sockets before performing a vol. Therefore, golden armor of the armor type is generally not something players need to consider, especially since many titans may later transition to Smith of Kitava. Currently, the mainstream options are pure evasion clothing, evasion plus shield clothing, and pure shield clothing. These types of clothing need to ensure the basic prefix attributes. For example, pure evasion clothing should have evasion-related modifiers combined with composite modifiers to maximize benefits. If we were to set a standard, pure evasion clothing needs to have over 2,000 evasion. Evasion shield clothing requires over 1,000 evasion and 400 shield, while pure shield clothing should have over 600 shield. It's important to note that these values are after adding armor plates and high-level forged runes. For suffixes, Aside from resistances, the main pursuit is attribute values. For the amulets part, it is recommended that prefixes include increased shield values and high percentage energy shields. If the prefix has a high value of spirit, it will be very expensive. Suffix options can include spell skill levels, summon skill levels, projectile skill levels, and resistance attributes. With so many types of modifiers, it's advisable to check prices directly. As for the shoes, at this stage, anything below 30% movement speed can generally be discarded, unless the suffix has extremely high resistances. While ensuring at least 30% movement speed, the suffix should guarantee high resistances and attributes. After going through the general points, let's briefly discuss some key points to pay attention to in trading, especially in marketplace transactions. You should never treat your gear as treasures. Of course, small price reductions can be accepted, but large price reductions should be directly refused. Only when you get rid of them do they hold value. Otherwise, we can only sell it to the shop. That's all for the video content. If you found it helpful, please like and share.